Hello, fellow patriots across America. This is Professor Toto of the Conservative College. I have a heartbreaking announcement that we got to talk about today. It's the end of an era, and we're going to discuss all of our favorite company, Chick-fil-A. I was not hurt when Target decided to go full-blown inclusive, promoting a diverse agenda. That's how they worded. I wasn't upset by Target. I wasn't upset by Kohl's. I wasn't upset. It's expected. What's understood need not be explained, but this one hurt. But we've got to talk about it because this is war. We're in a religious war against the darkness. If you didn't see my video last night on the end of the culture war, you really need to go to our website. That's it right there on the screen. Go now and watch my video on the end of the culture war, and it will help you to understand what's going on right now in our nation. Chick-fil-A has fallen, and we're going to talk about how that happened today. Before there was a Donald Trump that stood up for America and Christian values, before there was a Trump, before there was any of these people, there was one man by the name of Truett Kathy. Truett Kathy was a man of principle. He was our friend. He was in our side of the battle. He proved that you can stand on your principles and you can win. As a matter of fact, you can win big if you stand on principle. In the culture war of the 90s, there was a safe place that we could find support. And I drove out of my way. Even on vacations, I would drive out of my way to support Chick-fil-A. I would sit in their line, didn't care how long it was. That's where I would sit to support what I believe in, the values that I believe in, because I'm a conscious shopper. It was here at Chick-fil-A when we would pull up, we would feel at home. It was sort of our safe place in the cultural storm. And ladies and gentlemen, this week, they have betrayed our movement. It was discovered on their website that they are now supportive of the inclusive, diverse culture of the LGBTQ plus movement. This was hiding on their website for a long time, and no one saw it until this week, and it was exposed to the public. It broke my heart because I love my chicken sandwiches. It broke my heart because I loved, more importantly, what Truett Kathy stood for. They were a brave holdout in this war for many years. They were sort of a shelter in the storm from where we could run to. But today they have run away from our movement. They have run away from our principles. And today, patriots across America, it's going to hurt, and we're not going to like it. But if there is one organization that deserves our voice to be heard, it's one of our very own. We understand Target is that way. We get it. But not Chick-fil-A. They were on our side. They were our people. So the elephant in the room that I'm going to explain to you right now is, how did this happen? What lessons can we get from the fall of Chick-fil-A? When the rest of the world had lost its corporate marbles, if you will, we wanted to believe that there was one place that would never let us down. We know Hobby Lobby. I will go to Hobby Lobby and shop when I don't need anything. because I want them to feel my support. Chick-fil-A was right there with Hobby Lobby, and in days past, Home Depot. As far as Chick-fil-A was concerned, the choice of chicken had been built on the Truett Kathy strong family values. We loved what he loved, the nuclear family, marriage between a man and a woman, biblical principles, being closed on what he believed was the Sabbath day. We loved that principle. However, when Truett Kathy left the scene, other CEOs took over the brand. And while these CEOs began to move in a different direction, we did not even notice it. We didn't want to notice it because we love Chick-fil-A, like we do Cracker Barrel, like we do Home Depot. We always knew that one franchise would stand against the mob of the LGBTQ movement. But now we have the news that Chick-fil-A is catering to the diversity, equity, and inclusion crowd. The acronym is now DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And customers today all over America feel deeply betrayed, as we should. We are literally in a war. We're in a religious war. It's no longer a cultural war. And Chick-fil-A was one of our strongholds in that war. However, what you didn't realize and what I didn't realize is that these falls never happen overnight. They happen over time. That's why you must keep a laser focus on what's going on with the companies that you support. Because here is what was going on with Chick-fil-A for many years, since 2019, that you and I were not privy to. The knowledge was out there, but we just didn't look for it. It did not happen overnight. No fall happens overnight. Groups like the Family Research Council began to warn us in 2019 that after years of holding the line, Chick-fil-A decided to put distance between them, their brand, and the Christian conservative movement. This began in 2019. We did not expect this U-turn, but we should have. Now that blame lies with us, because Chick-fil-A, they endured a lot of attack for many years from the LGBTQ crowd. They were abused by them. As a matter of fact, they had movements to remove Chick-fil-A from airports, rest areas, college campuses. Does anyone remember that battle? But despite those attacks, the Kathy family and their brand thrived under those attacks. Why? Because we rose up to support their brand in the midst of those attacks. And we, you and I, made them the most successful drive-through in the world. We did that. They forgot that. They doubled their sales while the LGBT crowd was attacking them. Now, for no apparent reason, Chick-fil-A got tired of the battle, evidently. And they began to cave in 2019, slowly, to this monster machine that drives over you if you defy them in any way. So I don't know who got tired at Chick-fil-A, but somebody got tired of being attacked. Someone got tired of being weird and strange and standing against the grain. Not Truett Kathy. He never got tired. But somebody got tired. And if you're not careful, this same thing will happen to you. I've looked at people that have fallen, that serve the Lord, and wondered how it didn't happen overnight. Your job is to never, ever get tired. So we have taken a gut punch all over America today and yesterday. We're dealing with this news because in 2019, there was an announcement made by Chick-fil-A. Where was I? Why didn't I hear this announcement? Why didn't I know about this? Because when Satan begins to destroy you, he does it with the little foxes. They made an announcement in 2019 that they were ending their donations to faith-based groups. Was that not a warning sign? Why did we not rise up then and say, okay, you don't donate our money to faith-based groups, you don't get no more of our money. Folks, if you don't take a stand, what's about to happen in the next 10 years to your children? They said in 19, they're not going to give to the Salvation Army anymore. They're not going to give to the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Why? Because the organizations took a stand for traditional marriage that Chick-fil-A said was too controversial. Whenever they decided to quit giving to those organizations, that was a major donor for them. And, we didn't go to Chick-fil-A because they had the best chicken. We went because they had the best values. However, Matt Walsh said these words: if Chick-fil-A thinks that caving to the pressure of the left is going to help them grow as a company, they might want to check out what happened with the Boy Scouts of America, who has become an absolute joke in the world and has become almost a non-existent entity because they caved to this machine of the left. Governor Mike Huckabee said these words: Chick-fil-A made a huge mistake thinking that they can appease these people. He is so right. You never appease Satan when you please him. When you say, I'm just going to give in a little, I'm just going to listen, the world never lost their standard until the church did. Chick-fil-A started dropping their standard. Till today, they have totally become now involved in the movement that we're all against. Not only we found out, as I'm researching, we found out that a year after 2019, that they actively stopped giving to Christian organizations. Listen to me carefully. I will know where you stand by where your money goes. Always remember that. If you want to know where you stand, look at your checkbook. Okay? I'm serious. If you want to know what kind of person you are, go look at your checkbook, your register. See who you have supported with your money, because your mouth don't do nothing. Your money does. So they decided to totally quit giving to Christian organizations, but it got even worse. Listen carefully. It got even worse because we found out that not only did they quit giving to Christian organization, but then we found out that they began funding abortion and LGBT activists instead of Christian organizations. This was years ago. Where were we? Asleep. The Chick-fil-A Foundation has funneled $230,000 to the Covenant House. The Covenant House is an organization that, among other things, hosts drag queen story hours. So much so that Chick-fil-A is funding the group that hosts the drag queen story hour. They started doing that in 2020. We didn't know about it. We were still running over there, giving them our money. But that was not the worst of it, ladies and gentlemen. When they began to dig into the business taxes of Chick-fil-A, they found out that they had given money, are you ready? Are you ready? To the Southern Poverty Law Center. If you don't know who they are, Do your own research. Liberalism to the core. Where you start giving your money will tell you everything you need to know about where you stand. That's why every single person watching me should be donating something to the Donald Trump campaign. If you don't have but 50 cents, it's not your amount, but it is where you give that tells where you are. Did you hear me? Where you give tells where you are. Your money is your mouth in operation effectively. Now, the sad thing about all of this is Chick-fil-A has kept their mission statement intact. I'll read their mission statement to you. To glorify God by being a faithful steward of all that is entrusted to us. Were you being a faithful steward with all that was entrusted to you when you funded the Southern Poverty Law Center? Whenever you funded these LGBT Covenant House drag queen story, were you being a good steward? See, you can write anything you want to write, but actions speak louder than words. One of the former employees of Chick-fil-A by the name of J.P. Duffy, he said these words: Chick-fil-A once inspired me to live out my values in the workplace. Those days are gone. He continued when he heard the news about them being inclusive now. He said, I have come to expect this from Chick-fil-A, a corporation that has been moving left for years. While they've kept their motto and their long-standing closed on Sunday policy, they've made many moves to appease the left. What lessons can we learn from Chick-fil-A? When you begin to appease, it won't be long till you will please. Don't ever forget what happened to Chick-fil-A. We know, now we know, they begin slowly but surely to accept the inevitable, to just go with the flow. Well, you're about to see a flow, Chick-fil-A. You got my last dollar. And that breaks my heart, by the way. You got my last dollar. You betrayed us. You lied to us. We thought you were one of us. He continues, I'm not surprised that Chick-fil-A is promoting the left-wing DEI agenda. Chick-fil-A has drifted very far from its biblical roots. And now they have hired a vice president of DEI. Did you know that Chick-fil-A has hired a vice president of diversity, equity, and inclusion? To prove its allegiance to the left. Folks, people are dying in this battle all around us. When Yeshua said that when he returns, would there be any faith left on the earth? We are in that moment. When he said there would be a great falling away, we are in that moment. This battle is going to be left to the strong, and only the strong will survive. They hired a vice president to appease the left, and today you and I are finally forced to face the facts that we didn't want to face in 2019. You watch people, watch yourself. When you begin to move away from the ancient landmarks of truth, it will not be long till your whole life is a lie. Chick-fil-A began this fall years ago. Humpty Dumpty was sitting on a wall. Anytime you sit on a wall, you will have a great fall. Anytime you choose a wall rather than a side of that wall, you will have a great fall. Listen to what I'm teaching you right now. There is a wall that separates lies from truth. Do you know what that wall is? Compromise, acceptance, acquiescence. No big deal. What's the difference? That's the wall. That wall separates truth from lies, and that wall is the gray wall. You cannot sit on the gray wall, or you will have a great fall. It is truth or lies. You have to choose a side. And it's not easy, but it's required. We are in a war. Please go watch my video on FHTV about the end of the culture war. Right there is the website. Go right there and watch it, because you need to know what's going on. Why is this more hurtful with Chick-fil-A? And I almost would go spend my money now quicker with Target than I would Chick-fil-A. Why? They lied to us. They deceived us. These other brands, Adidas, all these other guys, they'll let you know what they support. But Chick-fil-A hid it from us. They took our money while keeping the Christian brand, keeping their motto. But can I tell you something? They're just part of a greater disease that's happening in your local church. Yeah. They've got the name on the church, still got the motto, we love God. But until you hate sin, you cannot love God.